The Skinwalkers, shadows between worlds. In the vast emptiness of the Navajo Nation, where red rock formations cast long shadows and silence speaks louder than words, there are stories that never leave the darkness, stories that whisper of transformations beyond human comprehension. My name is Marcus Blackhorse. I'm a tribal historian, and what I'm about to share isn't just folklore. These are encounters that have been passed down through generations, witnessed by those who walk between the seen and unseen worlds. It was a cold November night in 1987. My grandfather, a respected medicine man, sat by the fire and told me a story that would haunt me for decades. "Listen carefully," he said, his weathered hands tracing symbols in the dying embers. The Skinwalker is not a myth. It is a choice, a terrible transformation that breaks the most sacred laws of our people. A Skinwalker, he explained, is a shape-shifting witch who can transform into animals, but not through natural magic. This power comes from a dark ritual, a forbidden path that requires the ultimate sacrifice, the life of a close family member. These beings aren't simply shapeshifters. They are predators of human energy, consuming not just flesh, but the very essence of their victims. While they move between animal and human form with a fluidity that defies natural law. My grandfather's voice would drop to a whisper when he spoke of them. They hunt at the edges of perception, where reality blurs and nightmares breathe. In the summer of 1993, something happened that would transform my understanding forever. Sarah Yellowhorse, my cousin, was driving home late one night along the desolate roads near Window Rock. The landscape was a canvas of moonlight and shadow, sage and stone. Her headlights caught something moving in the distance. At first she thought it was a coyote, but as it approached, the movement was wrong. The creature moved with an unnatural gait, part animal, part human. Its movements were too precise, too calculated. When it turned, Sarah saw something that froze her blood. Human-like eyes within an animal's skull. She described it later as a nightmare given flesh, a coyote's body, but with muscular human-like legs, skin that seemed to ripple and change even as she watched. And those eyes, intelligent, calculating, filled with a hunger that went beyond physical appetite. To become a Skinwalker isn't an accident. It's a deliberate dark ritual that requires breaking the most fundamental tribal laws. The process involves killing a close family member, typically under a specific lunar cycle. The murderer then wears the skin of an animal, often a coyote, wolf, or owl, and performs a complex ceremonial dance that allows their spirit to merge with the animal's form. But here's the terrifying truth. Once transformed, they lose part of their human essence. Each transformation erodes their humanity, replacing it with a predatory consciousness that sees humans as mere prey. In 2005, a series of unexplained disappearances began near the Lukachukai Mountains. Livestock vanished, campers went missing, and those who survived told fragmented stories of something that moved between human and animal worlds. Local authorities dismissed the reports, but tribal elders knew different. The Skinwalker wasn't just hunting, it was sending a message. These aren't just stories, they are warnings. Passed down through generations, they remind us that the boundary between our world and the spirit world is thinner than we dare imagine. Some truths are better left unspoken, some shadows unexamined, but they are always watching. What lives between the trees?
A darkness isn't absence of light. A darkness is alive. My name is Dr. Michael Hartley. I'm recording this because someone must know the truth. Someone must understand what happened in Mount Crimson Ridge, a place that doesn't exist on any map, a location that consumes those who dare to investigate. I was a rational man once, an anthropologist specializing in forgotten cultural practices, archaeological mysteries that mainstream science dismissed as folklore. I collected fragments, studied obscure rituals, traced the edges of human knowledge, but nothing prepared me for what we discovered. The initial evidence emerged through a series of seemingly unconnected incidents, geological anomalies, satellite imagery showing geographical shifts that defied physical laws, indigenous tribal legends whispered around campfires. The local tribes surrounding Mount Crimson Ridge had an ancient warning. Some places remember what humans forget. Some memories are too dangerous to awaken. They were more prophetic than they could have imagined. Our team was meticulously selected. Professionals, skeptics, trained to approach the unknown with scientific rigor. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, 47 years old, geological expert with 2 decades of field experience. Her specialty was extreme terrain archaeology. She had mapped volcanic regions, explored Antarctic research stations, documented geological anomalies across 6 continents. James Chen, 39 years old, linguistic anthropologist with an unprecedented ability to decode dead languages. He spoke 12 languages fluently and had published groundbreaking research on extinct communication systems. Marcus Webb, 35 years old, former military reconnaissance photographer, calm, methodical, a man who had documented conflict zones and understood the psychology of survival. And me, Michael Hartley, 52 years old, lead researcher, the one who would ultimately be responsible for what we unleashed. We were professionals, trained, equipped, prepared for any potential scenario. We were catastrophically wrong. The forest defied every natural law. The trees stood in mathematically impossible alignments, perfect geometric patterns that suggested intelligent design. No randomness, no natural growth. Complete silence surrounded us. No bird calls, no insect sounds, no wind movement. Just waiting. Marcus was the first to document the anomalies. Bark markings that weren't carved or painted but grown into the living wood. Symbols that shifted when viewed peripherally. Geometric patterns suggesting multidimensional mathematics beyond human comprehension. These aren't just symbols, James muttered, his hands trembling as he sketched. They're instructions. A language older than human civilization. Instructions for what? We would soon discover. On our 3rd expedition day, the stone circle materialized. 12 massive monoliths arranged in a perfect pentagonal configuration. Each stone, weighing approximately 20 tons, positioned with precision that would challenge modern engineering capabilities. Carbon dating would later reveal something impossible. These stones predated human existence by 87,000 years. Each monolith was covered in intricate symbols, not hieroglyphs, not any known linguistic system. Something primordial. Something that pulsed with an internal bioluminescent energy, radiating frequencies that disrupted electronic equipment and caused physical discomfort. Dr. Rodriguez's analysis revealed a terrifying truth. These weren't stones. They were organic structures, living entities that had grown from the earth with a specific, calculated purpose. A purpose we were about to unleash. It began with a sound, a frequency that wasn't heard but experienced, a chant that vibrated through cellular structures, rewriting biological programming. The ground started pulsing, not shaking, breathing like a massive, ancient organism awakening after millennia of dormancy. And then they emerged. Figures between the trees, not human, not animal. Something transcending biological classification. Entities composed of bark, shadow, and collective memory. Limbs that bent through impossible geometric angles. Eyes reflecting absolute darkness. Not an absence of light, but a consuming consciousness. They had been waiting. Waiting for someone to complete the ritual. Waiting for us. I am the only one who survived. And now I'm telling you this warning. Some places are not meant to be found. Some memories are too dangerous to remember. Some forests are alive, and they are always hungry. The transformation wasn't instantaneous, it was a slow consumption. Marcus disappeared first. One moment documenting our research, the next gone. No trace, no sound, just an impossible absence where a human being had stood moments before. His camera continued recording. The footage showed something moving in the background. Not a shadow. Not an animal. A presence that bent light and reality around its formless shape. Dr. Rodriguez analyzed the recording. Her hands shook. Her scientific mind struggled to comprehend what the lens had captured. "This isn't possible," she repeated. A mantra of denial. But it was possible. The forest began changing us, subtly at first. James noticed initial symptoms, microscopic bark-like growths emerging between his fingers, skin transforming, cellular structures rewriting themselves. His scientific mind documented everything. Even as he understood, he was becoming something other. "The ritual," he whispered into his recorder, "is a transformation protocol, not a sacrifice, a conversion." His last journal entry was a series of mathematical equations, symbols that suggested a language beyond human comprehension, calculations describing a process of biological metamorphosis. What we discovered wasn't just a ritual, it was a memory, a collective consciousness older than human civilization, a living system that had waited millennia to complete its cycle. The stone circle wasn't a monument, it was a gateway, a portal connecting our reality with something that existed between dimensions, a consciousness that viewed human beings as nothing more than temporary vessels, temporary and now replaceable. I am recording this as a warning. Do not search for Mount Crimson Ridge. Do not investigate these coordinates. Do not attempt to understand what lies between the trees. Some knowledge is not meant to be discovered. Some memories are better left forgotten.
If you want more bone-chilling mysteries like this one, click subscribe and the ring button to stay updated. But be warned, some secrets are better left buried.